Hello friends, today is day 10 and we are going to learn post API. And in a post API we'll not do any database operation in this video, but we'll post some data and we'll see how the post API server works. We also make utilize of these two libraries. It's a validator and Logrus. So Logrus is for logging, and the validator it validates each field. So let's see how it works, and you can find the code under day 6. And next, once we are done with this post API in a Golang, in the next video I will do the same thing using Spring Boot and Java. Okay, so let's start now. So here is our code application, and let me enlarge a little bit. And in this, what we do, we first go to the package, and in my package we'll see the models here where there is a DTO, and under the DTO let's create event DTO. So I'm going to create a file here. So it's new file, and the file name is event dto.go, event DTO, and let's create this. There is a file and the package is DTO, so it's a package DTO. And then let's create a struct first, one struct. So it's a type event, and what we are going to do, we are going to define all the fields, and we'll post the similar data through the postman, and then our code will decode that data and store that value in event and will print. So let's define each field, and later the next step will be database operation. So we get the data, we store in event, and then we'll save that to database. Okay, so for now let's define each field. So it's the ID. I'm making I in uppercase so that I can access outside. Type is int, and here we do JSON, and field name is ID. So in the JSON we'll give the field name in lowercase ID. So that's what it indicates. The next field will be day, and just introduce each field, and then we can change this. So just copy here and paste it, and this is day. Another field is month, so into JSON and double quote it's a month. Okay, as soon as we save, it should organize. Let's see, let's continue this. Type event struct, and year, this is int, and again it's a JSON, so year. Next field is title. Title is a string, so JSON, then double quote title, and description, string, so description, double quote close. So I think we're missing double quote here. and here. Let's fix this first. Okay, as soon as I saved it organized. Let's create two more field. It's a created at it should be time.time, and it's a JSON created at double quotes. Another field, so updated at time.time and JSON double quotes updated at double quotes. Let's save it, and we have to import this time. So we'll go here and import time. And if you notice, this two is in lowercase and rest are in uppercase. So when we post the data, or when we get this data from post API, so in that time I'll just provide day, month here, title, description, and ID I'm giving upper, so we'll generate the ID and that can be accessed outside of the package. For now, created at, I'm just making it lower, but if you make it lower, we cannot access from outside. Let's make it upper also. We'll see the use case for this also. Okay, so our struct is ready. So next we'll go to the API, and in the API we have to write the function for that. So let's create a file, a new file here. So new file, and the new file will be events go. Okay, and in this file, and the package is API. Let's copy few things from this status API. So I need some function, so just copy this function. We'll modify this name. Come to the events go. I'll just come here and paste it. Do you see some extra import? Let's go in this. Yes, there is a few imports here. Copy that also. Okay, so that's for encoding JSON net HTTP, and we'll change the function name. So function name is event. Okay, and then it's a W response writer, R for HTTP request. Okay, that's good. Now let's delete the contents from here. We may need this response. So okay, so for now just leave like this, and what we do, we'll add something like W header, and then add a content type uppercase, and application JSON. So we are dealing with the JSON, so that's why the header we are adding the JSON. The next thing what we'll do, we'll create the object for event DTO. So we created event DTO here. So for this, we create the object so that when we send the data, that will be stored in this object. So let's create the object. Subject is event DTO, colon DTO. Let's import this DTO here. That's here DTO. So let's import first. So in the double quotes, it's inside the quote, and then the package, quote package models, and yeah, let's see, just populated. So DTO. So let's use that DTO. So now I'll say the DTO dot event. DTO dot event. So we created the object for this, and that's empty now. what we do next is use the function for new decoder. So JSON dot new decoder, and under this say that r dot body, r is the request. So when we post the data, then r is going to hold that. So we'll use that r dot, so that's why I'm using the r dot body. So we'll take the r dot body and the decode. So it will decode and where to store that value. So that's we'll say after this. It's a decode function, and then we'll give our DTU, event DTU. So it's a address of event DTU. Okay, so in this way, the data will be inside the event DTU. We can check if there is an error or not. So check if error not equal to nil. Then in this case, if there's an error, then we can print the error. So this time I'm using the Logrus. So for the Logrus, let's import that. So it's Logrus here. Let's use the Logrus dot error, and let's say error decoding JSON equal to %v and then error. So it will display the error, and in this case, if there is an error in the decoding, then that's the internal server error. So what we do, write header, and then under this http dot status internal server error, and after this we can just return if everything is good. So everything is good, then what's the next we'll do? So we know that data is in this object event DTU, so we can just print that data. So let's use the Logrus here to print the data. So Logrus, so width is Logrus has a nice function called with fields. So I can use the with fields, and then I can say Logrus dot fields. And under this I can say day is we can get the day. So whatever we post the day, so the day we can get from the object. So object is event DTU, so we can say day is event DTU dot day, and the comma we can add another fields. So that's what we are going to print here with the help of the Logrus. So month is event DTU and that month. Okay, that's good. Use another one year, and DTU dot year. Next is title, and DTU dot title. Okay, one more field, just will add description, and description is event DTU description. Okay, so we are done, and then after that we'll say that info, and should be uppercase dot, well, it is not populating. Everything looks good, and after comma this is closing, and that shell is closing, and then let's see info and event details. Okay, so we are good here. We are printing now. We'll return will return something. So what will it return? We first, let's see first, whether it's working or not, and then after that we'll come back here again. So for now, we are going to make use of this, but for now I'm just commenting this. Let's run first. Go and we'll see if there is any error. So go run cmd, and then where is that? Under quote. So quote and then name. There is error at line 26. So let's see what is the error. Line 26. Okay, comma is missing. That's what. Okay, let's run now. So it's saying welcome to the world of Golang, but it's not running. And I'm running somewhere. Let me see. Not here. Oh, it's running. That's why. It's another place. Okay, let's come here again. Let's try to run. Okay, nice. So it's running now. Let's post something and see what's happening here. So there is a postman. So if you have not installed the postman, you can install the postman. Okay, and let me bring that screen. Postman is here, and I'm using exactly localhost 9000 port. So our application is running at port 9000, and then API, and so we have not defined the API. Okay, let's add the API first. So that's, I missed in, because I'm saying okay, it's API v1 event, so we have to make entry. So we have to make entry in a API. So let's do that. So what we do, we'll go to the API go first here, and we have to make entry. So just copy this whole things and just post here, and say API, and then what's in the postman? I have put the v1, and then it's event. Okay, and the function name should be event. So that's good. And then it's a s.event, and then methods, and it's a post. So we'll do that method post. Okay, so let's run once again. Okay, that's good. Let me bring my postman here, and in the postman I'm going to send the day, month, year, and some title and some description, and let's run it. Okay, so it's good, everything is good, because we see the status 200 here, so there is no error. So that's good. And let's see the message in log. So if you see the message here, we're printing whatever we enter. Day is 5, description, month, and with the help of Logrus. So next, what we make a change, what we do, we'll as soon as we'll post this data, it should return also something. So let's return exactly same plus 1 ID. So let's modify the code a little bit, and we'll see that. So the first thing is we'll come to this place, it's the events, and we're writing the events here, and in this place let's add event dto dot id. So we'll say that id equal to 1. Just for the display purpose, but later once we store that in a database, that will be auto generated. And comment this code now, and let's so we know that our data is in DTO, so this DTO is, let's put that this DTO here. So I'm trying to Marshal. So Marshal is that it's encoding to the JSON, and if there is an error, it will say status internal server error and the return. If there is no error, then we'll write the response, and header is okay. Okay, let's run once again and see. Okay, that's good. Let's use the postman again. And in the postman, this time when I send this record, I got the ID 510 and title, description, created ad. So for the created ad we didn't updated that value, that's why it's giving some default value there. So we can change that later. Okay, so that's the very basic stuff we did. Next, what I'm going to make a change. So we know the day, and if the day is invalid, so if the day, once the day is invalid, then it should display some error message. So in that case, we'll make use of library, the validate library. So let's use this. So we'll come here, and if you see, I'm going to use this library. Okay, so you can also go here, and you can try to understand the more about this, and you can read the documentation. But for now, let's use this. So our code is here. So in order to use that library, first thing is we'll add that library on the top, and then we'll also just I'm showing example so that it makes sense how I'm going to use this library. So github.com, and then Go is a very Go playground, and validator, and version is v10. And for now, I'm just using underscore and come here, and I'll do the go mod tidy, and in that way it will add that library here in the go mod. So let's check that. So it's done. You'll see the go mod and see, okay, that's validated, that's library is added. Okay, so that's good. Next, use the logic. Let's remove this underscore now, and let's use that logic here. So what we do, we got the data here, DTO event DTO. So this line, okay, after this, so in this place we will get the data. Then what we do, let's validate, and then we'll use the validator dot new that function, and then what we do, error equal, so error we have already defined. So okay, error equal to validate dot, it's error validate dot, so validate dot struct dot, it's not populating, validate. So we have defined the validate or validate. Okay, this is the validator, and then after that validate. Okay, validate dot struct. So use the struct, and inside this we'll pass our event DTO, and it's going to will provide some instruction how it's going to validate each field. So we'll see that. So let me complete first this. In if it's, I can just say if error equal to error not equal to nil, then again Logrus, and error if, and invalid post request equal to %p, and then the error. So we'll display the error, and also will this is a bad request, so we'll also return your header, right header, and so it will be http status and bad request, and just return from there. Okay, so we added the logic for validation. So now we have to provide a little bit more information, like how we are going to validate. So those information we have to give in like event DTO file. So in event DTO file, like let's add, so open that file first. Is this event DTO? Okay, so event DTO, so this is the ID, and let's validate the day first. So for the day, there is some syntax for that, and you can go and read the documentation, and from there you'll find the idea. So what I do, I'm giving the instruction, and I have to start with the validate, and I have to say first thing is, okay, this is a required field, this is the required field, and then I will say this value should be greater than equal to 1, and comma, and then we also say that this value should be less than equal to 31. I use the double quotes here, and then have to give the double quotes here. Okay, so let's check for one field first now, and then we can add later other fields. So I'm going to run. Okay, there is no error, that's good. I will bring the postman once again, and this time this is all the valid data. So let me send this. Why this is the validator? Day is a 5 is the valid P1 event. It's not running. Oh, okay, let's see, there is maybe some error, so we'll see that what's the error now. Okay, panic, why undefined validate function GTE on field. So why it is on the day. Okay, so it's not recognizing the GTE equal to 1. So okay, let's see that it's a validate, and validate required required, and then so GTE. Let's remove this space. Let me save this, and then after that we'll check this. LT 31 double quotes, and then closing. Let me start once again. Type quotes. We bring the postman. Let's try once again. Okay, so this time, okay, that's a space issue. That's good. This is a valid thing. So what about if I make it the 55? So we gave the instruction it should be less than equal to 31. So in this case, okay, there is a 400. It's a bad request. We didn't return the body, but we returned the 400. It's a bad request. And when we come back here, and we'll find the error equal invalid post request key event day. So and it's saying that field on the LTE tag. Okay, so that's the error. So we can also customize the error. So if you go and read that documentation, in documentation here on this library, so where is that? That's inside the events. Oh, okay. So if you go and check that library validator, we see the documentation, we can find the way. So okay, so this is a very simple example where we post some data, and we post the data, and we also validated the field. So this field we validated. In the similar way, we can add the validation for other fields, and we accept the data, and then we display the data here. So if it is valid, all the field is valid, we can see the data here. Okay, so that's all for today. In the next video, we'll see the similar concept in a Spring Boot, and later we'll adds the database operation. Okay, so and also you can find the code in this folder in day 6 Golang code. Okay, so that's all for today. See you. Bye.